I'm a fourth generation farmer. We like to be good stewards of our ground. If we take care of our cows and our crops, they take care of us. That's kind of been the philosophy.
We're hearing from Al Koelling, who runs a diversified farm and a sunflower oil business called Simply Sunflower. Al's from Orrin, Nebraska.
We started raising sunflowers probably 14 years ago simply because the corn soybean rotation, we were having issues with resistance with herbicides and pesticides, and everybody was doing that type of rotation. And we incorporated wheat and sunflowers into that because the planting and harvesting timing is different. The rotation has just been fabulous.
With sunflowers in the mix, the farm is seeing many benefits. Al reports higher corn yields now that sunflowers are rotating along with the other crops, and the weed issues on the farm are decreasing. This means they can use fewer chemicals. The farm's no-till potential is rising, and the sunflower plant's roots are able to break up compaction without the use of mechanical control.
We use an absolute minimum amount of pesticides. We use no pesticides in our sunflowers. Part of that reason is because we have the aid of bee pollination in our sunflowers. Sunflowers are self-pollinating. That means the sunflower head that produces the seed pollinates itself. A certain amount of pollination will happen if nothing else is going on there. Insect activity on the head increases your pollination, which increases your yield because you get more seeds per head. Bees are a fantastic pollinator of all flowering plants. Naturally, they are a good added pollinator for our sunflowers too. There are times when we walk out into a pollinating field of sunflowers and there will be up to 20,000 heads per acre. That's a lot of heads. And there will be 1 to 3 bees per head in that whole field during pollination. And it's absolutely amazing when you do the math on that. Where do all those bees come from? Some of them are wild. They have to be wild because our closest bee colony is about 1.5 miles away. And I know those come in and pollinate. We also have beekeepers come in and sometimes put a portable bee colony right next to the field because the pollination time for our sunflowers is usually 4 to 5 weeks.
A beekeeper might set up their bees near the field for about 4 weeks, and they've found that during that short amount of time, the bees can actually produce more honey then than the entire rest of the summer. And for the farm's benefit, the 10 to 15% greater pollination that's achieved by having additional pollinators present is very important. That symbiotic relationship between the sunflowers and the bees will increase the pollination, which increases the yield, which is very important when there are issues such as diseases and pests that can attack the sunflower crop. Sometimes the sunflower plant will actually abort the head.
So you either need to spray for that disease or insect so it doesn't cut that head off, or figure out a way to increase your yield in another way. And normally, with that insect present, that predatory insect present, we will lose 10% of our heads. That's very significant. And so most people who raise sunflowers use insecticide to control those insects. If the bee can increase your yield 10 to 15% just because of increased pollination, it's kind of a no-brainer because the pesticide kills all of the insect populations, your beneficials as well as the ones you're trying to get rid of. And that includes the bee.
There are many types of bees and other pollinating insects on the farm, and it sounds like Al might have a favorite.
We have bumblebees and quite a few of them. I don't know where they come from. There's a lot of activity on that head when it's pollinating. I don't know what some of the other insects are, but in not using insecticides, we save them all.
It's clear these busy pollinators are hard at work on the farm, providing environmental and agricultural benefits, but there's also a lot to say about the education and enjoyment they bring.
You can walk through there and you can just pick them out. We've taken pictures of one, two, three bees, and they are so full of pollen they look like a little yellow ball. They're just loaded. It's amazing. I'm allergic to bees. If I get stung, I know it. I have no problem walking through a pollinating sunflower field at all because they are so intent on collecting pollen that they aren't even interested in the people walking through. The bees aren't a bother at all because they're looking for food. They're not looking for aggression.
Al thinks of all farmers and ranchers as entrepreneurs, and he encourages others to follow their own dreams. He and his family at Simply Sunflower have found innovative solutions that work with nature. They've found ways to celebrate pollinators, to decrease the inputs on their farm, and meet their goals.
I do not think anybody else is doing what we're doing. There's probably more than one reason. One thing, it takes a lot of energy. This has been a project. It's been interesting and it's been exciting because we're providing an oil product that is healthy to the consumer. But we're also, I feel like we're taking care of our little part of the environment in the best ways possible.